Hello, I'm Malorian, and this is the Orc Tactical Team, and what we're going to be talking about today is Orc and Goblin Magic. So, looking back on 7th, Orc and Goblin Magic was... there were some good ones, most of them were pretty bad. A lot of the casting values were fairly large, and the miscast table was pretty harsh. Compare that now to 8th, and everything's really changed. To begin with, the miscast table, we still use the Orc one, and compared to the new one, we can have these huge templates come up and kill half the unit and all these things. We're actually fairly well off as far as miscasts go. And as well, what used to be very high casting values, say of like 8 or 9 for being like, the middle spells, is now very easy to pull off. You have your level 4, you throw 2 dice at it, you should be averaging 13 per spell. So I mean, even if you're going for the number 6 spell, like the Waaagh, that's a 12 plus, 2 dice, and on average you should be okay. Oh, sorry, that'd give you 11, so you'd have to roll a third dice. But still, whereas before you had to throw 4 dice or something, or even more to make sure these go off, now most of these are just 2 dice casts along with your level. So let's just go through them, lore by spell by spell, lore by lore, just to make sure that we know what their uses in 8th, and just kind of now which one do I think is better, Goblin or Orc Magic. So we'll start with the little Waaagh, and the very first one is Gaze of Gork. So this one here, it's D6 hits, strength 2, no armor save. It really is a night killer, right? And so it used to be in 7th. Yeah, sure, blast those Chaos Knights, get a couple of nice rolls. It's the easiest spell to cast, and if you can kill a couple of Knights, why not, right? It was a very nice way to kill Knights without having to dedicate a Doom Diver or something like that. The problem now is that you don't really see very many of Knights or very high armor armies. So really, to me, this one is very little usefulness. However, it still is only that 5 plus to cast, and that means that really you can easily 1 dice this one. So if you're casting other stuff, you have that 1 dice left, hey, let's go for Gaze of Gork, right? Get that one out. Next one's Brain Buster, and this one's a lot better. So this is one that does the 2d6 strength 4 hits, powerful magic missile, and whereas before it was great for wiping out the support units, the same thing is true now. If they have any fast cav that are zipping up to get rid of your war machines or whatever it is, you can just blast them and then tear them apart. And of course it's a lot easier to cast now. And on top of that, now that you're seeing a lot more hordes, any spells like this which do a lot of damage are what you're going to need to try and grind these things down before combat. So this one's a very good spell. The next one is called Gorkle Fix It. So with this one here, it's kind of a curse spell. It's kind of a hex where it makes it so that for that unit, all the hit to wound and armor saves of 6s are counted as 1s, as well as for spells. So it's great for bringing a whole unit down. And this, of course, in 8th has even more effectiveness, because whereas before it just affected the first rank, now you can have a lot of rules that are being affected by this. So if you're having, a big horde versus your big horde of orcs or something, this can be critical. And again, very easy to get off. Next one, Foot of Gork. A unit takes D6 strength 6 hits. Again, used to be great for support units or even bashing war machines. It's not well for getting war machines anymore, but the great thing for this is that it could be anywhere on the board. So still, if you have that fast cav that's running away, one last guy, so that hopefully you can't kill him and get the points, this can catch him. So it's kind of a utility spell. Again, can put some wounds on some tougher units, so it's all right. Next one is a very big one. It's called the Hand of Gork, and this is a one where a unit moves 2d6 towards the closest enemy unit, and then it will be a charge, and you don't have to worry about any psychology tests when you're going into this. And so this is just like Van Hels for vampires, and so this can be so powerful, where you just move a unit up to the side, Van Hels them into a flank or something. If they're trying to sneak around you, you can always reform, and then Hand of Gork right into them. So this is a very tactical spell and a great one to have. Last one is that Morks Want Ya. That's where you just pick a model. They have to pass an initiative test, or they take D6 strength 10 hits. And now, of course, where the general and the BSB and even the mage is so critical to your army, being able to pick them out, even though this is kind of short range with 18 inches, can be very good. So another really good utility spell for knocking out those tough characters. So that's the little Waaagh. Let's jump over to the big Waaagh for Orc Magic. So the first one is just the magic missile D6 strength 4. It's all right. It's whereas the Brain Buster was 2d6, this was just a d6, so it does okay at doing like the small units, but it's, you know, again, it's just the first spell, so whatever. It's just kind of nice to have. And again, it's a 5+, so you could do it on one dice if you had one. Next one is the Ed-Butt. That's where you pick any model and it takes a strength 5 hit with no armor. So it can be good for killing out champs before a challenge, or for working down characters to try and snipe them again. Although, of course, for this one, it's going to take a couple of castings. You know, you might need that Itty Ring as well, which is a bound spell for this, to try and get those wounds off in time. But it's a way of sniping characters. Bash 'em Lads. This one can be very important, because this one, the unit in the next phase gets to reroll all misses in combat. So, you know, especially if it's the first round, so you're still strength 4, or if it's with your Black Orcs or something, getting to re-roll all those to hits can make that first round of combat very dangerous. So, you know, you kind of want to plan this, so just when you're Waaagh in, you cast it. But this one, you know, where everything can be based on these huge combats, this can be very important. The Fist of Gork, that's one where, you know, every model in the unit on a 4+ takes a strength 4 hit. And this is a one where I think it's the only one really had that if you do see these huge hordes of like 100 models, this is the best one to throw in there just to break them down bit by bit, because really each time should be killing about 25% of the unit or more, depending on what their toughness is. So it's a good way of just trying to kill a whole bunch of them. And again, this is, I mean, it's an A+ to cast, so that's an easy 2 dice cast when you have your level 4 on top of that. You have your Gork's Warpath. That's that Foot of Gork, so stomps on 1, and then, you know, on a 5 or 6 it stomps another unit of the enemies, and on a 1 it stomps your own. So it's just the one that can do it more times. Again, it's alright, you know, if you have some little units hiding, you can do very well, but it is no less effective than it was in 7th, because in 7th, you know, if you do d6 strength 6 hits, it could actually take quite a bit out of a unit. But now that we're seeing these big hordes, it's, you know, it's something that's nice because it's going to bring them down, but it's not going to be as devastating as in 7th. The last one, the Waaagh, that's where everything in your army moves up the 2d6. At first I was very hesitant with this because it was still debatable whether War Machines do this as well in 8th, but now it's been clarified in the FAQ that in 8th, these War Machines that cannot charge anyway do not move and are not affected by this. So you can go ahead and zoom up and charge with all your guys, and the same thing, whereas the last one you could be, you know, going to a flank and then Hand of Gorking into somebody's flank. Now you can be doing this with several places all across the board. So a very tactical spell, very powerful. So now it's going to come to the point, you know, if you have to choose one level 4 to have in your army, am I going to go with a Goblin? Or are you going to go with an Orc? And, you know, personally, I go with the Goblin one. You know, if you're looking at the magic missiles, the Brain Buster does more damage. You know, the Foot of Gork is just like the Warpath, but I mean, you're really only planning to get it off once anyway, so I might as well not take the chance that they're going to be stomping one of your units. You know, you might not be able to be doing the wall with all the units, but sometimes you don't even want them all moving, right? Sometimes you're just trying to stalemate this one enemy power unit, and you don't want to be rushing into them. So I think the Hand of Gork gives you a lot more control of deciding, okay, I want to move in this one. As well, you know, they each have that, you know, there's the reroll to hit versus the Hex one. Those are about a wash in my eyes, and when it comes to sniping characters, I would take the Mork once over that Ed-Butt, just because it's, you know, if that goes off, it'll kill a character, rather than the Ed-Butt, which you're probably going to have to cast several times in order for this to work. And I mean, you can always take the Itty Ring with a Goblin or other character anyway. So there you have it. All the spells, Orcs in general in 8th, their magic is a lot better. Everything's a lot easier to cast. There's quite a few still powerful spells in the book. And if you are going to go and decide between a level 4 Goblin or a level 4 Orc, go with the level 4 Goblin in my mind. I feel that's the spells are a little bit better and give you a little bit more control. So there you have it. And next time we're going to be talking about Lizardmen, and in particular their characters that are going to be on Cold Ones. So see you then. Bye.